Hi and welcome to a new Finance and Operations Dimensions video from a technical perspective, where we are going to learn a little bit more of how the dimensions are stored into the database and how we can exploit them. So this video is based in the post in a piece of code I've given to you that will get the description of a given dimension using the dimension attribute value set rec ID or the full dimension and the dimension name. So with that it will get the description, but that's not the important thing, but how it works and how the tables that are going to be used there actually are, and that's the main goal of this video. So please join me. I hope you enjoy as much as I did when I'm recording and editing this video for you. And yeah, let's go. So here you are, the method that will receive the dimension default, that it's the dimension attribute value set rec ID and the dimension name, and we'll get back the dimension description. And how is it working? Basically what we have here is that we use the dimension attribute where everything is set up to know what tables and what fields of those tables to use to get the desired information. So the first step is to get the dimension attribute value set that that we talked about. We talked a little bit about it in the previous post about dimensions, but basically it's this table where we have the different combination of the dimension values for a specific rec ID. So this is the rec ID that will be the full dimension, and here we have the combination of the dimension values. So we have them here, for example, business unit and business unit value. Those fields are not accessible from Visual Studio, but they are there in the database. So how do we get this information here? Or for example, the cost center. How do we get this information? We should go to the dimension attribute and check the dimension key column name and dimension value column name. Those, for example, for the cost center, those are going to say that in the dimension attribute value set, we have a field named cost center, and in the dimension attribute value set, we have a field also known as cost center value that will have the key and the value respectively. So knowing that, we are going to get the record itself without doing nothing special. Dimension attribute, we're going to get it from the dimension name, so we can have all the setup we need, and we are using like the dig table to make an instance of the table where we are going to actually get the description. And how are we doing that? Because in the dimension attribute we have the field backing entity type that it's going to say to us in what table the dimension value and description can be retrieved from. So I've done this query to visualize it a little bit better. So we have basically in the dimension attribute, we have the backing entity type field, the key attribute, and the name attribute. Those fields, also apart from those ones that we've already seen, those fields are the ones that are used for our method. The backing entity type will give us the table, as I was saying, and the key attribute will give us the field ID of the key of this table, and the name attribute the same but with the description. And there's also I think a value that would give us the value, but we are not using it because we are going direct to the description in this case. I am using the systable ID view and the systable field ID view only to visualize and to know what table is this related with, and how are those IDs, what are the names into the table. But this is only for you to understand better. If you don't know, those views are very useful, and now I hope you will use them. So once we know all of this, you might have questions about what those are. Basically, the dimensions, there are two types of dimensions. The dimensions that are based on custom values and the dimensions that are based on actual tables. The dimensions that are based on actual tables, on out-of-the-box tables, are all of them have this dimension attribute something view, that are all of them, like as table, cast table, the customers, the cost center has the cost center dimension use this, department dimension use this, and all of them are or have their own dim attribute something view. Those views are the ones that store the actual data that we are retrieving with this method. And when it is a custom dimension, it will use always the dimension financial tag. And once we know everything in the dimension attribute, we know from the dimension attribute, we know what fields in the dimension attribute value set are going to get the value or the key, and we also know what whether dimension financial tag or dim attribute something view table will have our data. So once we know that, it's easy for us to use this dig table and go through it. Basically, here we already have the record of the dimension attribute value set, and we use the key column field ID that will basically get the dimension attribute dimension key column name, that it's this dimension key column name, that it's in this case, for example, cost center, and convert it to the field ID and use it here. And so this will give us, given a specific example, this value. Okay, this one, 010. This is the value that will be given. Or no, sorry, the rec ID of this, like this rec ID, because this is the key, not the value itself. This is the key column field ID, and this key column field ID, that it's from the dimension attribute value set, is the one that we are going to use to retrieve the actual record in our view or financial dimension financial tag, using also the key attribute in the dimension attribute, and having already instantiated the correct table based on the backing entity type field in the dimension attribute. So once we've done that, we have basically the record in the whether dimension financial tag or dimension attribute something view, and we can get the description with the field ID of the name field that will be that will be this field, basically for the financial dimension tag will be the description, and for the dimension attribute something views will be the name. But those have basically what we know as description of the dimension. So that's all I wanted to to show here. I know it's a little bit tricky to go through those tables, but once you see how it works and see how the dimension attribute has like all the setup and all the field IDs and table IDs you need to go through to get your information, it's not that hard. It's only a matter of investigating and doing some SQL queries like that and following the thread. So that's it. Thank you for your attention. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video and that it's also useful and you have learned something. Please let me know if you have any questions. Contact me through the blog or directly through LinkedIn or whatever. Thank you and Happy New Year.